Good evening, fellow morons, and welcome back to Mr. Scott Hunter, who's not been with us for quite some time. He's been off sunning himself. How was your trip away, mate?
It was very good, very Duncan for the first half of it anyway.
Well, we realised that with the reviews that you were sending in to us.
Can you clear something up for us? Did you watch Beauty and the Beast full blast by the side of the pool?
No, I had the AirPods in.
Right.
I didn't want to ruin the illusion on the pod.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, what a shame. We were all secretly hoping that was you just like lying there bobbing away to be our guest the whole time.
I was, but I think it was only me that could hear it.
Well, you did have the esteemed pleasure of watching The French Dispatch while you were away as well. That must have been fun for you.
I actually managed to watch that before I went, because we had that extra few days. So again, sorry for ruining that illusion as well.
Oh, well, I was liking the fact that you'd be lying on your holiday, enjoying yourself, and then watching that absolute garbage. But you did score it incredibly high in comparison to everybody else.
In comparison. I do think if I had watched that on holiday, there's a chance either myself or the phone was getting flung in the sea.
Or both.
Aye.
Well, we did miss you last week, and there was some interesting comments made by some of the people on here about their thoughts on that movie in particular. Hey, Sean.
Yeah, utter shite. I'm not getting into that again. I would kind of ruin my night last
I noticed after listening to it that the amount of times that Sean swore in that was quite unbelievable. Every second word was a swear word.
I think that it was appropriate given the guff that we've just been subject to watch.
Well, it was. I think it was more just I didn't spot it at the time. It was more just when listening it back that I realised how angry you were.
Well, I think that's because we were all very irate at having to watch that garbage, and I know Instagram's had some fun with the comments under it, which we can maybe touch on a little bit later on, because there's a few really positive ones which blew my mind. But we did have, last week was The French Dispatch and Beauty and the Beast. The French Dispatch came in at a second bottom of a 0.30, so even Hunter's big score of 1 didn't put it past second bottom. And The Beauty and the Beast came in at 2.65, so a good middle of the table for the morons. Thanks to those that did recommend those movies, so we do appreciate it. And just want to say thanks to everybody that has downloaded and listened to last week's episode. It was good to see the numbers coming in for that. We took a bit of a boom in there, so some of the clips that we've managed to get, we're going to put together and we'll get them shared on social media for those that haven't listened to the full thing, because there's some absolute belters in there. But we are here this week to talk about movies that were selected by who?
Me.
That's really helpful for a podcast.
Introduce myself. Sean. I'm not say me. You should have said that it was chosen by Sean, and I would come in. This isn't the first time. This isn't the first podcast we've done, Kyle. Come on now.
People listen to our voices by now.
He's fucking one. Mr. Big Time there, eh? They know my voice instantly. They know who that was. Yes, the movie were indeed selected by Sean. Sean, would you like to tell everybody what movies that you selected?
It was Rush Hour 2 and Gone Baby Gone.
Rush Hour 2 and Gone Baby Gone. Rush Hour 2, when did we watch Rush Hour 1? How long ago was that?
I had to look to see what I think it was like 4 months ago, I thought, but I might be wrong.
Well, let's hope we don't have to add that to the trilogy list and have to rewatch them. But we might have to include Rush Hour 3 in at some point. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker that are nut for this, aren't we? Sean, are going to come to you first to talk about Rush Hour 2. But before we do that, it was out in 2001. Carter and Lee head to Hong Kong for a vacation, but become embroiled in a counterfeit money scam. Sean, we'll come straight to you, buddy.
So, watching this, it kind of took me back to my childhood, because I must have watched this at least 70 times when I was younger. I always used to watch this in Rush Hour 1, but watching it like now as an adult, I probably prefer Rush Hour 1 just slightly, but I still think this is quite good for what it is. I'm pretty sure we said the first time it's never going to win any Oscars. It's not going to have you sitting there gripped, but it's quite a fun film, easy to watch, easy to follow, like good action scenes. I thought they overdone it with the wee one-liners at times off the back of the success of Rush Hour 1, but it's to be expected, I suppose. Again, another few racial slurs in the film. They picked that up in Rush Hour 1 as well. But this was only a couple of years after then, so again, it's probably not much of a surprise that stuff like that was seen as acceptable back in, what was it, 2002 or something, you know. But I mean, it's nice. This I feel a lot more relaxed this week, not having to, not having my blood boiling after sitting watching crap for a week. So I've been upbeat this week. So a good pick for myself, if I don't mind saying. Anytime you watch a decent film, let me know, and I'll bring out a couple of belters. But no, I was fairly content watching this. Solid film. Never going to blow your pants off you, but again, well worth the watch for me.
I think it's one of those movies, you touched on about like the racial remarks and the jokes and stuff that come in it, that see now you're obviously a lot more sensitive to it. Because there's so many times I watched it and I was like, Jesus Christ, like that's really taken to the bone, because it's just Chris Tucker running about being racist for the whole length of the film.
I mean, it is quite kind of strange, like kind of watching it in this day and age. And again, we'll probably myself when we done the first one, but like the wee comments about we all look alike and all that. Like it's, I know that back then it was seen as which is just weird, but it's very, very strange.
So I was thinking about this because I remembered we spoke about it last time, so it was sort of in my mind, and I mentioned it to Ella before we came on. Like, I wonder if this would still be okay because they're both minorities. So see if this was Chris Tucker and a white guy or Jackie Chan and a white guy, it would be really uncomfortable to watch, I think. But the fact that it's not, I think the issue with a lot of these things when you look back at them and how bad they are is because it's a lot of white guys making inappropriate jokes, and it doesn't really age well, and it's almost like there's an excuse being made to write it into the script to make it that way. Whereas this feels a bit more natural, like it's banter between two guys, and they both sort of accept it, if you know what I mean. So I was thinking about that when I was watching it, and I was like, I don't think this would be offensive to anyone. I hope.
No, I don't think it's like I wouldn't say that it's going to be kind of offensive to anybody because of the way it is, like the way that Chris Tucker is in the film, very like high pitched, always like almost every line he comes out with there's never a serious line for him. It's just always like on the kind of joking side and that it does come across that way, but still like it's not something you hear very often in kind of TV and film nowadays. So it is always quite strange kind of hearing it back then. But I know it's a good point you make there, how obviously it's obviously a black man and an Asian man, so it probably doesn't come across as offensive as what it would be if it was like a white man, as you say.
Aye. Was it me go?
Yeah, keep going with your thoughts, Daniel.
Very much like Sean here. Like I used to watch this and the first one over and over again. I was like the perfect age for this when it came out. I thought, the patter was funny and it's really enjoyable. And I've not watched this for years, and when I was watching it, I could still probably quote it.
Aye.
Like even the outtakes, like I knew exactly what was coming because I'm like Sean, I've seen it so many times. But and much like I'm going to sort of touch on this when we get to my picks at the end. Like this film gives me like it's a comfort movie for me. I could watch it any time, could always enjoy it. And what it does is the opposite of the French Dispatch. It knows what it's doing. It's not trying to be anything else other than what it's trying to do. So instead of trying to make something artistic, I'll say, just to be kind, right? Instead of trying to push boundaries and make something different, right? It's just trying to make itself the best of the type of film it can be. And it's maybe not quite as good as the first one, but that's only because you've seen it before. But it's still class. I love it. I think it's a great movie.
Just you talking about the age of you when you're watching it, and it's not going to. We mentioned it's not going to win awards. I was just having a look to see if it had won anything. Aye. But it was a winner of favourite movie, favourite male movie star, and favourite male action hero at the 2002 Kids' Choice Awards.
There you go. That makes perfect sense. That's what it takes me back to. I really enjoyed it. It's a shame. I always wonder whatever the fuck happened to Chris Tucker. He's a bit mental, eh?
Yeah.
I think he's really, really good in this. I think that, I know this is probably like his range and stuff like that. But for what he is in this, he's perfect. And I just a wee side thing. Sorry to kind of cut you off here. I would happily watch an hour and a half of him singing Michael Jackson on the karaoke as well, because
do you know what it is? For me, that whole scene, I was actually laughing at because it's an outright disgust that he's got to the guy up before him who's just butchering the songs, and he's like, "I'm going up there and I'm going to show you how to do it properly." And he puts his all into it, like.
He loves Michael Jackson in real life. Like, he was really good pals with Michael Jackson, and they used to hang about at his fucking mansion and all that. And I think he's a bit strange because he ended up being. Remember, Michael Jackson had that weird comeback no long before he died, and Marlon Brando was in the music video, and it was Chris Tucker. No. Only Hunter for that, but so I think he was quite strange, and I think I read a few things that you think he's quite difficult to work with, and he became quite a bit of an arsehole after this because he's done fuck all for a long time.
Just looking at him now, so he done 2016 Billy Lynn's Long Half-Time Walk, 2012 Silver Linings Playbook, and then it was 2007 before that, it was Rush Hour 3.
Wow.
So his last three, for 1998, he's done Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2, Rush Hour 3, then Silver Linings Playbook, and then that other one.
Fuck, he must be living on the streets. What the fuck?
Do you know he's getting royalties?
Royalties coming in for Rush Hour.
Because they float like us. But he was in some really good movies, like Dead Presidents was a cracking movie. Friday's brilliant in Friday.
Friday's class. The Fifth Element's class. He plays like the most over the top character ever in The Fifth Element. It's a bit like
Jackie Brown as well.
But a few things I wanted to talk about with this film rather than just being positive. I thought I'll try and think of some nitpicking things that we can discuss. Right, Jackie Chan and Ricky Tan. Right, they look. Correct me if you think differently. Right, they look pretty much the same age.
Yeah.
Are we meant to believe that this guy is the same age as Jackie Chan's father?
Oh, I didn't even cross my mind. I can even you get the point.
So I never crossed either.
No.
Well, let's just I was just looking there. So Ricky Tan was born in 1952.
The
actor, sorry,
right.
Yep. And Jackie Chan was born in 1954.
Aye, so they're the same age, right? They look the same fucking age. He's meant to be his dad's old partner for when he was a kid, and he's over his dad.
Yeah.
So then that made me start thinking you're supposed to believe that Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are about the same age. And what is Jackie Chan supposed to be like in his 20s in this film? See, he looks like a 50-year-old man. That's what he looks like.
Well, Chris Tucker was born in 1971, and obviously Jackie Chan in 1954. So a big difference there.
It's mad. Anyway, I just thought that I noticed that, but a thing that's become a bit of a theme, and it happened during Batman, is perving on ladies getting undressed. Was it happened again in this movie?
Nothing subtle about it, eh?
And subtle about it. I just point out, like, see Jackie Chan's acting during that, but it's fucking brilliant. He's so funny. Like, see when he's like stuttering and like no wanting to give a bit and all that. Like, I think Jackie Chan's comedic acting is underrated. Like, I think he's just so fucking funny. This could easily be just like a martial arts guy with Chris Tucker carrying all the comedy and carrying all the dialogue. But Jackie Chan's fucking class. He's underrated. I wish he'd done more. I suppose what else they do? Shanghai Nights and Shanghai Noon was quite successful as well. Eh?
Yep.
He's done. I mean, he's done a lot of things. He's very, very successful, but he's underrated in a comedy aspect. I wish they'd put him in martial arts things. Put him in a couple of just like no martial arts. Just put him in a couple of comedies. Could be a bigger star.
Well, there you go. Burnsy, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
I was just going to add into what Daniel was saying. Is like because one of the things I wrote down is the person who is the woman that's obviously they're watching getting undressed. I was going to make a comment say she's like beautiful, but also as I didn't even click on about her age, she's like 20, must be about 25 years younger than Jackie Chan is as well than in the film. Obviously, when you go back to the age.
I think you're supposed to believe that Jackie Chan's quite young. in this
Yeah,
film.
because she's 2 years old, 2 years younger than Chris Tucker in real life.
Right, aye. Which is that's where I thought they were going to go with that, but obviously they didn't. But yeah, I thought I think I enjoyed this slightly better than Rush Hour 1. But I don't know if it's my memory playing tricks on me, but I thought, as has been discussed, I thought Tucker was tremendous. I know I said the same about the first one. He's got so much charisma. He makes the film so enjoyable and just a really easy to watch when he's on the screen, because I was just like finding myself laughing at just how much comedy he brings to it. Part of it's obviously the lines he's been given, because I'd taken a note of like a couple of them. Is like I remember he said when he made a comment saying someone's old chopsticks were shoved up my arse and you're sorry. That made me burst out laughing at that point, when the dog's falling down. And then his reaction when he takes him into the massage parlour and he just like, oh, I'll take you, oh, you. So he ends up with 5 or 6 glasses or whatever. He also just can't help himself, but it's his facial expressions as well. He's just perfect for the role, as Sean has suggested, and also when they were on the, when they were on the yacht, and Jackie Chan saying to him was like, "You die," and then obviously they get completely. It's something so simple, but it worked really well with obviously their accents and just everything. That obviously getting completely confused, and obviously I remember in the first one where Jackie Chan doesn't speak a word of English, and also in this one they're just communicating with each other, but they've still got that sort of confusion that's going on at points as well. And then finally, like he was when he was talking to, I think is it How Lee her name is, the other woman that's and he made a comment to her saying like how we could have been together or been something special, but you're a crazy bitch. I thought that was hilarious too. He's just I think it was like if somebody else that was saying those words, I wouldn't have been laughing as much as I was.
That's actually that scene is probably one of my favourite scenes in it, because he starts off with like Jackie, like, well, Lee, I've got this. Like, go, I've got this, and he gets ready to fight, and he's trying to ask her out. Like, I want to take you out to a movie and stuff. Eh? It's like she's actually like getting her hair set up so she can stab the shit out of you, pal. You're just still thinking about getting your leg hair fair.
But I think the way his character's done, that's exactly how you expect him to act. It's not obviously like you weren't thinking like, this is weird, like this doesn't sit right. That's exactly how you would expect. If you were writing it yourself, then that's how you would want him to act. So like you say, it's perfect. I think as well that it was like a really simple plot. Like there was lots of action. I think for me that there was probably, I did really enjoy the scene at the end with the red dragon, but there was maybe a bit too much fight scenes throughout it for me. But I know you're obviously going to get that kind of film with Jackie Chan being in it. Like, but that was just like nitpicking more than anything. And also like where Tucker and we are sort of, well, mainly I think it's Tucker that's not sure whether Isabella's on their side. Like I was sort of unsure as well, so like they'd obviously set that up perfectly so that you weren't really sure what way it was going to go. And then the final thing was like Daniel, I think, had mentioned, or was it Sean? I can't remember. Said about the cutscenes, and he sort of could remember word for word. I felt like those even showed how much they seemed as if they actually really enjoyed making the film. Like it wasn't as if it wasn't as if it was awkward laughter. They were actually just telling the things that were going wrong in the film. But no, I can't really say anything bad about it. The only thing I'm nitpicking at is there was maybe too many fight scenes, but that's just because that's my personal preference. But out with that, it was really enjoyable.
The cutscenes at the end are always the best part of these Rush Hour movies, and it's that when what has me pissing myself as many times they keep calling him Jackie.
Aye.
Oh yeah, that was. I didn't take notes. That was a belter.
And then like Jackie's like, "Oh, I'm Jackie now." He just like starts rolling, and they start acting out the scene and stuff before they've even realised that he's called him Jackie.
I think as well when I was watching, I was thinking like, why? What's he said wrong? Because obviously, and then it was only when the actual other actor says his name's though Jack, and you're like, oh, aye, there it is.
It's something he's sort of cursed with, because in every movie you never think of his character. You could never think of a Jackie Chan character name. It's just Jackie Chan.
Yeah. No,
So that's
definitely.
me done. So I'll pass it over to the man returning from his annual leave.
Oh, thank you very
He's,
much, Bungie.
how much annual leave do people have in here? I don't know. Where am I getting
I
mine?
don't know.
I
You
gave
get
it Sean. Don't
Kyle
do
takes
that.
it, we all get it, so we get bonus holidays if Kyle goes on holiday.
That's it.
I don't know. Like we've worked out now how to do it on Skype, guys. So I'm sure you can load the call up and just hit record. Like,
I'm
Aye.
interested in building that. To be fair, somebody else need to do that.
oh, that's too much technology for this group.
We saw the state of me trying to put Instagram and Facebook
Oh,
posts.
yeah. Can we just address that quickly before we move on, Burnsy? Burnsy putting his post up on Instagram with the longest fucking non-clickable link that the stories last about 10 seconds on Instagram, and you're looking for someone to mail it. Write that down, like to type it in.
You can't even copy the text. You can't
Screenshot
even.
it. You could screenshot it and then type in your phone and your search bar. Daniel did put up a post, like I think it was today or yesterday, and I messaged him and said, like, the next day I'm just waiting for him to put his one up and I'm just going to share it to mine.
I'll send you a little video tutorial later tonight on how to do it.
Yeah, I think
Well-
we tried that last week and it still didn't make any difference. So
Well, we will move on to the Traveller since he's returned to grace us with his
Yeah.
presence.
So I am just going to pretty much echo everything that's been said so far. This is an enjoyable return to movie watching after the shit show that we had last week, and it was nice to feel some warmth and comfort that this film brought. Now, again, as I touched on when we done Rush Hour 1, I didn't watch the first two of these. I don't know why I never did when I was younger. I remember going to the cinema to see Rush Hour 3, and for some reason, I still don't know to this day why I never returned and watched the first two, because, again, I very much enjoyed this like I did the first one. Again, the relationship between Chan and Tucker on screen is great, and they just sort of complement each other so well. And one of the things amazing, even just with the sort of the opening scenes for this, is with that bamboo scaffolding and Jackie Chan at whatever age he was, with a 50-year-old doing his own stunts climbing up that. I mean, what the fuck? I would even climb up metal scaffolding. There's never mind fucking bamboo. And then what we touched on with the cutscenes at the end, I've always thought again they were the best bit. I mean, with that bit, obviously there's the one where Chris Tucker takes a phone call on set as well. It's
Aye.
like, he gives a phone to Jackie, and then the other one as well. I'm trying to squeeze through that gap. I mean, it's tiny at the best of times. I mean, it's so slapstick, but it's still so enjoyable at the same time. And again, I can't. For a world that it isn't going to, as Sean said, it's not going to pull up any trees. It's not going to win any Oscars. There's not going to set the bar alight. But as far as action comedy goes, it probably is where the bar should be set for, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't think there's many more better than these first two films. Again, you know exactly what you're getting, and they hit the spot both times for me.
Right, go on.
I would say Rush Hour is my favourite action comedy. If you wanted to put that as a full genre, Rush Hour is my favourite. I can't think of anything better. Can anyone think of anything better that's an action comedy?
No, off the top of my head, no.
Police Academy.
No, that's just straight up comedy.
Nah, you've got a fair point there. It is really good. It is one of those really enjoyable movies that you can put on in the background and you'll like it regardless of when you watch it. Do you know what I mean? It's for us, we can still enjoy and appreciate the comedy that happens in it. I wonder. It would be interesting to know what the snowflake generation think of these types of movies. They'll be in the fucking cancelled culture before you know it.
The only kind of films that I can think of that are quite similar to this would be like Bad Boys. But like, I don't really remember Bad Boys 2. I've not seen the new Bad Boys being that particularly great. I think I like the first one. Like,
Listen-
I wouldn't go back to them and watch them as fondly as I would Rush Hour. Like, I don't remember them as fondly as I do Rush Hour.
Well, listen, there'll be a new Bad Boys coming out starring Will Smith.
Oh, here, by the way, what a segue that was, eh? I didn't even mean
Will Smith? What a fucking dick.
Let's go on. We'll come back to the scores in a little while. Will Smith, he's obviously a hot topic in the media at the moment for his infamous assault on Chris Rock. But I want to get the take from you guys. I'm going to go we'll do like a little round robin like we're doing with the movies anyway. But we'll come to you first of all, Sean. Give us your take on Will Smith slapping the shit out of Chris Rock.
Now, everyone has to pick a side at the end of this, and then whoever gets the majority is who we declare that we support. And
right, I'll take a note of that as well.
I want to just start this by saying that absolutely I do not condone any violence. I'm not a fan of fighting and just hitting people for any particular reason. Now, what I think this is, if it wasn't a work, which it doesn't appear to be, I think Will Smith's family has been basically in the media for so many years in a negative way. There was a thing with his wife, but the affair, like his whole marriage was basically through the tabloids and whatever. There was also something with his daughter, who I believe is underage, and there was a guy YouTuber talking about her or something like that. So there's been quite a lot of stuff about his family and stuff like that. He's had quite a very public life, which is to be expected when you are who you are, basically. I just think he's basically just lost the fucking plot last night, and it's just put him to the edge, and he's just thought, you know what, fuck this, I'm just going to go and lamp him. And obviously, people will say a joke's a joke and stuff like that. That's fine, and I've heard worse jokes by other stand-up comedians and stuff like that. But I just think he's just thought, I've just had a fucking absolutely horrendous past couple of years. First with all the stuff with my wife, daughter, I'm sure his son was in bother. And obviously this is meant to be his big night. He was the clear favourite for the Oscar. And he probably just wanted to focus on that. And then it's just one comment about his wife's, well, alopecia, I suppose, is an illness, isn't it? So he's just went mental and he's went up and punched him. So I've got a degree of sympathy for him, although I don't agree about
he's not even hit him.
Yeah, off the fence, Team Chris or Team Will?
I'm in defence of Team Will Smith.
Oh.
Interesting. Daniel, we'll segue straight to you as we did earlier with the movie, so you come in with your thoughts.
Yeah, fuck Will Smith. Will Smith's a cunt. I don't like Will Smith at the best of times, and we sort of discussed this a tiny bit before Sean came on, but to me, Chris Rock's a fucking comedian doing his job. Do you know what I mean? It'd be different if someone came up and shouted it in her face in the street. Do you know what I mean? But fucking, and the thing is as well, he was sort of chuckling away, and then he saw her looking at him, and he's thinking, this is going to be my big fucking night, and all that's going to happen is I'm going to win the Oscar. I'm going to go home, and she's going to fucking put my balls for no standing up for her, or for laughing or whatever. But I lost the plot. I think he's on the verge of like a fucking breakdown. Like, you can't just go up and fucking slap somebody in the face. Like,
they can.
And I think Chris Rock deserves an enormous amount of praise for how he dealt with it. He just fucking shook it off a wee bit, fucking carried on, made a joke about it. But
he ate it well, didn't he?
Aye.
He ate it well.
But I'm unanimous. I'm 100% Team Chris Rock here. I think Will Smith's a fucking dick. Take a joke.
We did have a small conversation. Sorry, Sean, you go.
I was just going to say, not everybody is thick-skinned. Not everybody can take a joke, and
that's fine. You discuss it with your words like big people. And you say to Chris Rock afterwards, here, Chris, you took that a step too far. Go and make an apology to my wife, or however you want to deal with it. And then if Chris Rock's an absolute wanker and goes, no, fuck you, then maybe it becomes an altercation. But like, you can't just fucking get up and slap a cunt in the face. You just can't. That's at his work. He's there in a work, essentially, like he's there in a fucking business night, if you think about it. His job is to be an actor, and this is an award for acting. I mean, can you imagine if you were at your work's awards do and you just went up and slapped somebody that made a joke about you?
What were you saying there, Sean?
No, I was just saying I don't condone violence in any way. I completely agree that it should have been dealt with in a different way. But like, I do not agree with the whole it's a joke thing. Comedians have got a free rein to say whatever the fuck they want, because they absolutely should not have that. Not everything can be made into a joke. I'm not in that agreement that like.
So where do you draw the line then? Because he was taking the piss out of everyone in the audience for various reasons, right? So do you go and ask everyone in advance if it's okay?
Oh, but I would say that certain things like the physical appearance of a woman, I would say would be
just of a woman, not a man.
So would you go up to a man and say,
No, but I'm not talking about you and me. This is the point I'm making, right? It's not about your preference or my preference, right? Now
Oh,
you're
no.
drawing a line, you've got to then define it. Do you know what I mean? So if you're saying there's certain things you can and can't say, you then have to define what those things are. And that's when it gets to fuck. So, you can say what you want, and if you get in trouble afterwards, you get in trouble afterwards.
no, well, I in my opinion, I think the joke that he made, I think it was a bit below the belt. I don't think it was particularly nice. But again, forgetting about the punching.
The neck, was it not?
Eh?
It was above the neck.
Hey. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, listen, just to weigh in a little bit myself here. I'm definitely with the camp of he should not have hit him in the middle of the stage on the Oscars, right? But I do think, maybe similar to Sean here, that there's not obviously not to condone violence, but if a comedian's going to get up there and they're going to make a remark to it, they can't just expect to get everything accepted, because this is the thing with comedy and jokes, it's all subjective, because that could be funny to one person and not funny to the next, etc. I'm not shocked that Will Smith hit him in the face. I'm shocked he's done it in the middle of the stage in the Oscars. If it was me personally, I'd want to confront it outside of the main stage. Confronting, I don't know what I would do in those scenarios, but not everybody's got the ability to, or the intelligence to go and speak to somebody and say that they're unhappy with what's happened. So he's just lashed out. But I think you've got a really good point, Daniel, about maybe the mental state of him, because he does look like he's deteriorated massively in the last couple of years. And it could be on the verge of some form of breakdown, and this has just been one of those scenarios. I mentioned earlier on before we started that I was watching some clips on Instagram of people talking about it, and one of them made a really good point about how essentially like she's in control of that relationship, and that's been very well documented, especially with her, their behind closed doors relationships and what she's been up to, etc. And I think that when the camera kind of cuts away and cuts back to Chris Rock, just before it, you can see how angry she is at that comment, mid Will laughing. And that split 10-second gap between us seeing they two interact and Chris Rock, I want to know what's happening in those 10 seconds. There'll be another angle somewhere that will come out to show that she hit him with a look, because she said something to him, like, because he seemed to have just got triggered and he's went into defense mode and he's jumped up there, probably in his mind, fully defending his woman, not even considering or thinking about anyone else around him, which I can understand to an extent.
I'd also say, I'm not, it was more of a Freudian stuff. I'm not saying you meant it by it, like, but you said his woman there, right? And I think that leans into this quite a lot, is that she can confront him herself. She's a strong. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be the fucking. Again, I think it's just a very primitive, old-fashioned way of thinking. I mean, but if she, she's her own person. Let her deal with it her own way. If she then fucking if she says, I would like us to deal with this by you going up and punching them in the face, then that's a fucking decision you make as a couple. But like, let her fucking deal with it. If she's human,
this is what you get with probably that generation, and the next couple of generations coming through won't have this type of behaviour and reaction because it's a lot more well educated. But how often is it like you going to stand up for your brother because you're bigger than him? You're going to stand up for her. You're going to stand up for your sister. You're going to stand up for your partner because something's happened, and that becomes like it comes naturally to a lot of people. That's what they want to do. They want to stand there, protect, and make sure everything's all right. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it sometimes gets ingrained in people. That's what you do, and that may be his background. Obviously, I've absolutely no idea what Will Smith's background or thoughts are, but it seemed like he's jumped up because he's felt like he's had to defend her. And that doesn't mean it's right or wrong. I mean, I get she's obviously got her own voice and she can deal with it her own way, but it's hard because you don't know the background of it. But it's such. I'm definitely going to say that if I'm putting a name on it, right, I will be Team Chris Rock, because he didn't deserve to be slapped in the face on the stage of the Oscars. He probably deserved to be slapped in the face in backstage.
What about you, Bonzi?
I'm still in the mid.
Burnsy's first question is, who the fuck is Chris Rock and why is he on the Oscars?
I take it he was the Rock's brother in WWE. That's what I'm going with.
I thought Bungie's first question would be, what the fuck's the Oscars?
That was the question. That would have been what it was before I started the movie club, to be fair.
Just before we started, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Mick Foley actually tweeted about this, saying if it was Dwayne Rock Johnson, do you think Will Smith would still have got up and slapped him?
But that's obvious because he's fucking out like a brick shithouse.
Exactly. So Will Smith's only done this because he feels like he could physically impose himself on a fucking skinnier, smaller man. So again, there's no fucking chivalry or bravery about it. He's just doing it because he feels like he can physically impose himself on somebody. They just further cement him as a cunt. Sorry, on you go, Bundy.
That's hearsay. We don't know that.
I'm still the opinion that I think it's all luck, but
I like it. Tell us more.
Well, it might just be obviously what Chris Rock is like, but when you see him, obviously he's all like smiling and grinning. That even when he's going close to slapping him, but he might obviously be thinking that it's still a laugh at that. He might be thinking he's doing it, he's only having a laugh at me, and obviously then he hits him and he's like, oh shit, he's actually really pissed off. So obviously that's part of my thinking, and if it was a work, it would come out though. You know what I mean? It's not going to be hidden. They won't be able to hide it for forever. So if it is that, then it'll come out in the wash. But I think if I had to choose a side, then I would be on Chris Rock's side, just because although the joke was inappropriate in my view, because I just don't think you could go and abuse somebody's acting skills or anything like that if you wanted, but I don't think it's, even if they're abusing any or making comments about Andy's appearance, then even if it was an illness or whether it was just their size of them or what their style was like or whatever, that's obviously a personal insult instead of just like making fun of their acting ability or the films they've been or something like that. So I'd be on Chris Rock's side, but that's because, but at the same time, I don't think it was an appropriate way to say it. But Will Smith shouldn't have went up and just bitch slapped him. He should have obviously done it if he wanted to do that, like when you said, he should have done it off stage. He could have made a comment from his seat and said, basically, shut the fuck up, which he kind of did. And then I think Chris Rock did carry on. But then if that doesn't happen, you could just stop, and then he's not going to carry on for the next 10 minutes. You know what I mean? He was finished at that point anyway, and then he could have just had a go at him backstage. And if he wanted to have a scrap with him, then have a scrap with him if you want.
Yeah, the dust is obviously would have settled at that point, and you'd hope a cooler head would have prevailed at that point, and it's just pure reaction. And wait, what was that?
I don't condone violence either, like Sean had said. Just to put that out there.
Liar, Burnsy, liar. What I was going to say is, like, I don't think it was a work because of the way that he hits him. Like, Will Smith hits him, but as he makes contact, he instantly shoots his body and his head back like he's expecting to be hit back. Like he's hit him and he's already walking away at that point. Like he knew exactly what he was doing, and he was gone. Whereas if it was a work, like Chris Rock would have probably hit the deck and he'd have rolled about. People would have came on the stage. It would have been a lot more dramatic than what it was. But it's not made.
And maybe the works went wrong and he was meant to fall over, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to do that. Make an ass and make him look as if he worked really hard.
He's it's a work. It's because it's not really benefiting anybody, is it? You would do like something for publicity in a like positive way for yourself. You would not put yourself negatively in the media, which is pretty much what's happened to Will Smith.
They're going to be getting talked about in the Morons reviewing Morons. Morons.
Do you want to try that one again, Burnsy? Well, I'll cut that bit out, right? You try that one again.
To be fair, this is Morons reviewing Morons at this moment in time.
That is what we're reviewing, to be fair, though. So it fits well.
Hunter, bring us in with some of your thoughts then on this take.
Right, I'm just going to say, first of all, I'm looking forward to Chris "The Rock" Johnson versus Will the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air opening WrestleMania on Saturday night.
Well, the way the world's going, they'll be in some sort of fucking boxing match organised with Jake Paulson enough anyway.
Oh, no.
Oh, did you know he's offered them money to fight an undercard or something?
Oh, was it on the undercard of Kanye West versus Pete Davidson or something as well?
I thought Daniel might know. Has he got a UFC fight or something like that? He's offering
Nah.
like 50 million each or something.
He's just offering stupid money for things that won't happen, so that people will like he's fucking tweets.
Yeah, try to keep himself relevant. Sorry, Hunter, I'll cut you off there.
Aye, so I mean, kind of similar to, I mean, the joke was a bit close to the bone, but for me, Ricky Gervais has said much worse about people, and nobody's went up and fucking lapped him on stage when he's been hosting the Golden Globes and whatever he's done. But for me, also, Will Smith lost any credibility. Firstly, by laughing. Like, if he should have just been sitting there stern-faced, or maybe just marching up as soon as the ones. If it had irked him that much, he should have went up and acted on it straight away. Then also the fact that he's fucking slapped him. I mean, if you're going to hit a boy on fucking stage, do it properly.
Put your back into it, Will.
Exactly, I know. I expect a headbutt or a punch to the jaw.
Imagine if he just walked up wrapped in nut on him. That would have been incredible.
I mean, it's essentially just a closed fist away from, instead of winning an Oscar, just being straight up arrested.
That's true.
And see others taking the fucking Oscar away from him. Well, like when you look at some of the other scumbags that have won Oscars, who are convicted sex pests and everything, get that shit in the bin as well. But I look a piss.
Roman Polanski was a convicted sex offender, and he moved to Switzerland to avoid conviction. Dave will say he's innocent based on that, but he moved to Switzerland to avoid conviction, and he managed to still win an Oscar afterwards, which is fucking mental. There you go.
I thought we'd get through a whole day. Well, without talking about non-season sex offences.
I wanted to expand Sean's plethora of Hollywood paedophiles to more names, so I thought I'd bring Roman Polanski to the table this week.
So that will Polanski, Weinstein, Tarantino.
Tarantino's not. We need to watch not get sued for slander. They are speculated Tarantino.
Somebody Sean's going to get sued for that one. We're all right.
I've not said he's been convicted. It's just my personal feeling.
I'm not saying he has. I just think he is. Sorry, Hunter. We keep jumping in here.
That's all right. But again, on top of that, of the fact that he just went up and just slapped him, all credibility shifts back onto Chris Rock's shoulders at that point for me. So I'm Team Rock.
Team Rock. So we had 4 to Team Rock to 1 to Team Smith. But I do think a lot of the Team Rocks has got a little caveat on there of Kenny did deserve it, but maybe no like that.
Kel, did you call Will Smith Dean Smith there, or did I mishear you?
Team.
Oh, I can say Dean. The football manager.
Dean Smith would have stuck there at him.
That's your trivia, Hunter.
I do, yes. So first of all, so the scene with Carter and Lee run down the street naked was an actual take, as the production team could not get the street blocked off so they could actually film it. So the passers-by are genuine, innocent people with a couple of wangers in their faces. Don Cheadle only agreed to be in the film if he could A, fight Jackie Chan, and B, get to speak Chinese with him or / Mandarin. During filming the scene in Vegas where the explosion in the casino, there was about $1 billion worth of fake money was used in that scene. It's all blown up. Some of that actually ended up in circulation as legal tender.
For fuck's sake.
The movie actually had its first premiere on a flight from LA to Hong Kong in July 2001.
That's clever.
And Jackie Chan's favourite number is 32. On the gangster's car plate, the registry plate, there was a number 32 on that. And also, when he spits the grenade onto the roulette wheel, it lands on 32 before it explodes.
Do you know what's really funny, right? When he did that, I took note that it landed on 32, and I thought, I wonder if that's anything. I thought, nah, that's just that.
Thanks, Finn.
You wonder, like, how many takes did that take to hit that?
No much. They'll hit a magnet under the number.
Yeah.
As I say, because is that worth the money for it? Just to put a little nod there for him.
Daniel, let's go back a bit. You're normally smarter than this. Did you think it's done loads and loads and loads of takes until that landed on the number 32?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the early 2000s. I'm absolutely sure that that's what they'd have done.
They hadn't discovered magnets in 2001.
Absolutely. I'll stand by that. We're talking about a movie here where a guy's fucking hands and feet are stuck to a wall while he looks into the camera and they still can't catch him at that point. Right, let's get scoring this. We've spent 45 minutes talking about Rush Hour and Will Smith. Sean?
I'm going to give it a 4.
4. Daniel?
I'm giving it a 3.75.
3.75. Burnsy?
I'm giving it a 4.5.
Wow, love that.
Hunter?
3.5 for me.
3.5 for Hunter, and I'll wrap it up with a 4 from myself. We spoke for that really quickly. Burnsy will know have done the numbers by now. So, woof!
Oh,
No.
Getting better using a calculator. 3.95 overall.
3.95 for Rush Hour 2, which, where do you think that takes us in line with, guys? And a quick guess.
where is it next to Rush Hour 1? That's all I care about.
What, sorry?
Where is it next to Rush Hour 1?
I don't know where Rush Hour 1 is, but it actually makes it joint 21st with The Terminator.
So is Rush Hour higher than that? I think Rush Hour's in the top 20, is it though? Maybe? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think no, Rush Hour's not in the top 20.
We've settled the debate in the first episode then that Rush Hour 2 is better than Rush Hour 1 based on us.
I think the 4.5 for Burnsy. So Rush Hour 1 came in at a 3.70, number 31 on the list.
Wow.
Well, there we go. Well, guys, we have been talking for a long time about this one, so let's move on to Gone Baby Gone. Let me just get this stuff up for that. So Gone Baby Gone came out in 2007. 2 Boston area detectives investigate a little girl's kidnapping, which ultimately turns into a crisis both professionally and personally. Directed by everybody's favourite Batman, Ben Affleck. Sean, your choice. We'll come to you first.
So this is one that I hadn't seen, so I purposely chose a seen and an unseen one, just like we used to do before we used to film it and stuff. So you got a kind of straightforward story to begin with. What it seems like a little girl goes missing. A bit different this time. It's like a private detective. Well, private detectives either just look like kind of young people. So they're hired obviously to go and find the wee girl. Interestingly, what I found interesting was obviously it was like by like 50 minutes into the film, the little girl's appeared to be dead, or she's classed as dead through drowning because they can't find her body. So you know that obviously we went like an hour and so long ago that's not going to be the end of her. I quite like that. It's normally these kind of films, they just drag out the disappearing for the whole 2 hours or however long the film is. So I did like that it took a little bit of a different direction. I felt, or I kind of wished that there was more Morgan Freeman in the film. I thought that obviously he was kind of credited as one of the main actors. He's not really in it that much. He's got a wee bit as a policeman, and then obviously more towards the end, where it all kind of gets tied up. But no, like I thought it was quite good for what it was. I thought Casey Affleck was quite good in it. I can't really recall. I'm sure you'll rhyme off a couple of films. I can't really recall seeing much with him in it at all. I know that it was sexual misconduct allegations or something in the late 2000s or something, so that's maybe why I've not seen him in a while. I can't recall him in any other films that I've watched recently. But no, I didn't.
That before.
Yeah?
I've never heard that before.
Aye, Casey Affleck's a wrong'un.
Aye.
Oh, I see.
Aye.
Because I was going to say, if you like it, I thought he was amazing in this. And I was going to say, if you like him in this, you should watch Manchester by the Sea, which I'm sure won Oscars only a few years ago, but maybe that was like
Aye.
6 or 7.
I'm pretty sure that this was like late 2000s that he was kind of in the fucking American whatever. But he was, I can recall something negative about him.
Yeah, 2010, Affleck was sued by two women who worked on a film. His film I'm Still Here. They accused him of repeated sexual harassments, and one woman claimed he drunkenly crawled into her bed without her consent when she was sleeping. Another one said that he was violent.
Wow. So when did Manchester by the Sea come out, please?
That was
okay.
definitely after that.
Manchester by the Sea was 2016.
Aye, so it's not affected them then, is it?
No, I just couldn't recall, and I'm not sure if that was the reason why. I couldn't really recall seeing him in much, but I know that.
Sean, we can't hear what you're saying because Kyle was moving in his seat there.
So I'm pretty sure that at least one of you will probably say that the twist with the uncle being involved was maybe a bit easy to spot. I never spotted it, but again, it's not a surprise. I'm not really one to pick up on kind of twists and films and stuff like that. But I thought it was an interesting one. It's better than the kind of, because I thought it was going to take a kind of route like when they brought the paedophile in. Well, they kind of mentioned him at the start, along with Hector Salamanca and that, and his beautiful wife. I thought it was, I'm really glad that it didn't focus. Well, it kind of did go down that route for a wee bit, but it didn't really properly go down that route with the first missing child. Because I find that stuff kind of hard to watch, and like the scene where he goes in the house and he finds the paedophile upstairs with the wee boy and all that is. I just really struggle to watch stuff like that. Like it kind of, pretty sure it repulses everybody, but I just kind of struggle with that. So I'm glad it never went that whole route, is that she was kind of kidnapped for that kind of stuff. But the twist with Uncle I never really seen coming, and then I definitely didn't see the twist with Morgan Freeman at the end either. Although what I do does kind of bug me is how would he have got away with that? Because this girl, her face was everywhere. I don't just doubt. I doubt. Well, I would imagine that would have been national news. A wee girl goes missing in America. All of that. Obviously, there's a wee boy goes missing not so long after at the same town. That would have been national news. So how he can just think he can get away with like just basically parading her as his own child is just absolutely ridiculous to me. I'm not really a fan of that, but no, like I did enjoy it. It's a simple story that's been done many, many times, but I thought it was done quite well in this.
The only bit I thought, Sean, is when you said about how Morgan Freeman's character was expecting to get away with it. The only bit when they were driving to his house, as I was thinking, because it was massive, it was as if it was like a house in the country on their own. So maybe she wasn't like going to school, she wasn't going anywhere, so she was just like in that house with them. That was the only thing I picked up. I agree with you though, but I don't know if that was what the way they were trying to portray it.
I think Sean means like long term, like they were about to leave.
Long term. I think you meant even short term, like how they were getting away with it at that stage, because it was on the news and whatever. Maybe I picked up wrong.
But like long term, as Daniel said, it is a bit of a silly thing. But like I've no doubt in the world somewhere this kind of thing has happened, and there will be people who think that you can get away with that kind of thing, which is utterly bizarre. But that was the only kind of thing that I didn't quite like. I just thought it was I just found that a bit silly. But I'm glad they phoned the police. Me and Laurie were sitting saying, "What would you have done?" And she was like, "The wee girl's happy," and I'm like, "It doesn't matter. He's somebody." But I fair enjoyed it.
It's a real moral debate at that point, isn't it? Like.
Well, I suppose when you go.
I was just going to that exact conversation that Sean and Laurie's had is two polarizing areas of it. Like, do you send someone back to poverty where there's drug abuse, etc., or do you let them grow up happy, never really knowing, and living a different life? But then it's still wrong at the same time because that's they've stole her.
Do you think at the end, though, he was regretting that decision because obviously when the ending, when he's sitting with her, he realises that mum doesn't even actually really care about. Well, she sort of goes through. To me, she goes through emotions of really caring. At some stages, you actually feel for her, and other stages, you're like, she doesn't actually give a toss. And
doesn't even know her name.
Actually, that's what I mean. She doesn't even know the name of her favourite teddy. And then obviously at that point, he's sort of sitting there and he's put that. The way I picked it up was he was thinking, "Have I made an ass of this?" In terms of left her there.
And I think that's the point the movie's trying to make. It does want to leave you with that question that Sean just sort of ended up on, and now that we're sort of talking about. I think I've got to side with Sean in it. Like, ultimately, you've got to do the right thing, and it's up to her to try and become a better mother. And what he's doing is trying to positively influence it by being around because he can. So, I suppose he's sort of done the right thing, and he's maybe going to try and have some sort of influence on this wee lassie's upbringing in some sort of way. I did find it a bit shit that his missus left him over it. Like, I understand he's disagreed, but I mean, I don't know. That seemed a bit weird, but no, Sean summed it up saying, well, the thing I liked about this, first of all, was when it got to about that sort of 45-50 minute mark, and it wasn't just your typical missing child, and it started going in a bit of a different direction. I do feel it got a little bit convoluted towards the end. Like, there was too many different folk involved, and too many different sort of layers to the plan, and like the two different cops, because you've got the brother or the uncle, or what? So you've got the uncle, you've got the three cops involved, and stealing this child to give to a cop, right? And then you've got to get the drug dealer. What was his name? Cheese. And all that, so I ended up being involved. And then you've got the other paedophile thing and all of that one, and the other drug dealer that takes him there. There was a lot. I think there was just maybe a wee bit too much going on in like the middle part of the film, but I did really enjoy it. I think compared to what we've had to watch last week, there was never a point when I was watching this I was thinking, oh fuck, I wish we'd never picked this. I quite enjoyed it all the way through. I'm sad to hear Casey Affleck's a dick, because I thought he was really good in this. I find him a really believable actor. I don't know what it is about him. I just think he always plays the same type of guy, a sort of dour-faced guy through the projects in Boston. I mean, like, that's kind of what he's like.
He's brilliant in the assassination of Jesse James.
I've not seen that.
Really good movie.
So I think he's a good actor. So I think he was great in this. Who is it that plays his missus again?
Michelle Monaghan.
Michelle Monaghan.
She's good. She's one of those that you see in a lot of stuff, but she never really seems to make it big and get like a big leading role in like a major movie, which always surprises me. She's never sort of been a major star. But Ed Harris is good. He's really believable. I think it's a good cast overall. Sean makes a good point about Morgan Freeman not being on screen enough. I think that's them trying to make you not have any idea that it's going to be anything to do with him. Do you know what I mean? Not having him on screen takes him completely out of your mind, so that when the twist comes, you're like, oh, like you'd forgot all about him. And I think a lot of stuff does that. Like, it's a weird comparison, but in the movie Saw, you never actually see the guy really, and they're meant to go, oh, you should have spotted that. You saw him for like 10 seconds in the movie. And I think a lot of the tactics sometimes is to try and steer you completely away from where the twist is going to go. But it's good overall. I think Ben Affleck should stick to directing, because seen stuff he directs is generally pretty good, and the stuff that he acts in is generally pretty shite. So I think he should try and stick to that. I could get director an actor.
Well, we could discuss that in length at a later time when it's my selections and we're watching the Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I will be picking it. Amy Ryan's incredible in this. I'll be stealing Hunter's trivia, but I do know that she was nominated obviously for an Oscar for this one. But she is a very, very good actress. Definitely one that I really like watching. And I was going to point out about the cast in there, because there is some really, really good actors in there that I feel like I've not seen too much of in the case of like Casey Affleck, Ed Harris. I feel like there's actors that I know who they are, but I don't know much about them. They're not the stereotypical ones that I watch films of. So I've just loaded up there just to have a look through their IMDb. I might try and watch a couple more movies with them in it. I'm going to pass straight to Burnsy though. Burnsy, take us away with your thoughts.
So straight away I'm going to disagree with Daniel. I didn't like Casey Affleck in this at all. I think part of it was because of the script though, because at the start they introduce you to him and his girlfriend, and they say they're partners and they're both private investigators. And then throughout the film, she just like seems to just go along and sit with him. She doesn't. I felt sorry for Michelle Monaghan, because she didn't actually do much, really. Like, she was on screen, and when she was on screen, I thought she was really good. I agree with you at that point. But he's the one that's going out and investigating, and she jumps in. Obviously, the the ocean, and then she's in hospital for a bit. But all the other scenes, it's just him. And I'm kind of like, well, if you're meant to be on the same level, then surely you should be like half. I thought it was going to be half screen time each, or like both of them in it together. Whereas a lot of the time he was just himself, which kind of annoyed me a wee bit. Like to me, it's like, although she was good in the film, I don't think the film would have missed her because the way they've actually done the script. Like if he just didn't have a partner, I don't think it would have made the film much worse because they didn't give her enough opportunity to in the film to do anything really meaningful. I thought.
It's a good point. It's like she was almost only there to be his moral dilemma at the end. It's like she was just there tagging along so that there could be someone saying to him, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah. To me, she was more actually his girlfriend in terms of a private investigator. Like it was as if you had, it was as if like she didn't have a job and she just went along with him to see what he was doing and maybe learn from him or something. But she wasn't. It was as if she was like his deputy or something.
Take your bird to work days.
Sorry.
Just take your bird to work days.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought she was good, but it was just a bit bizarre that bit. And I thought as well because I felt differently about when you said about it was a shame how she left him, because I think because they just seemed to like when he was sort of torn as to what to do, she said what she preferred, and he was just like, "Well, I'm doing that. See you later." Like it was as if it wasn't really any. I know at the end point he's going to have to go with his own feelings, but it was as if he was like, "Well, didn't really care how you feel. I'm just going to go do that anyway." I thought Morgan, as Daniel said, I thought Morgan Freeman is like, I was surprised that his role was so minimal, but I think it worked well because otherwise, if you had him at, say, Ed Harris's character, who I thought was brilliant in it, is then I would have came away from the film thinking, oh, I've seen Morgan Freeman in films before and I know that he's good. So it was actually good to see somebody else being major parts of the film and him sort of being in the background more. And I also agree with Kyle that sort of mentioned previously about Amy Ryan's characters that she seemed to like take you on a journey with her character in terms at the start you were sort of thinking she doesn't care, she's just about the drugs, she doesn't even care her daughter's gone. And obviously you learn a wee bit more as it goes on that maybe she does really care, and then you're taken back to me. I was taken back to the beginning. It's like I don't actually know if she really cares that her daughter's found and well. I did think that although when it was 50 minutes in that it's been discussed, is that I liked how you thought, obviously that was, you knew it wasn't going to be the end, but I liked how it, so instead of just having like a standard beginning, middle, end, it sort of made you think, oh, this could be it, and then obviously you go backwards. But I thought like when the boy goes missing, that to me didn't achieve anything. Like the only bit that it did include was how Remy opens up to Casey, Patrick's character, and says about how he knows the previous, what was it, how he knew the previous guy from before. But out with that, and as Coy being shot, it didn't achieve anything for me. Like it obviously showed that there was the paedophile was involved, but it just got, as you said, it got a bit contrived with that. They could have just cut that out, I think, and just focused on the one disappearance, and then carried on the story. It just lost its way a wee bit for me at that point. Didn't see the twist coming like Shaun, which was a good way as well. And the only thing I did spot, which I don't know if this was the way they worded it, but when Casey Affleck's character is getting questioned at the police station, I'm sure he gets told like, "Oh, you were at the quarry recently." Apparently 2 months has passed. It's like, well, it wasn't recently. It was 2 months ago. You absolute melter, a police officer. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I thought it was good, but there was certain aspects that I didn't get to grips with, and I think there was too many characters, and it's like I was actually having to like look back and see like who was who whilst watching it, because I was losing my way a wee bit, and because it was a bit contrived, the abduction and things like that as well, I was trying to piece it all together, so it did lose me a wee bit at stages, but it was still glad we watched it. It was another good pick for Shaun.
Oh, there we go, Shaun. A wee bit of adulation for you at the end if it burns, eh? Good pick.
I forgot to say that I want to address, just to contradict Sean's point on the Will Smith debate. is that he made fun of Hector Salamanca's wife for her appearance as a joke. So I think since you crossed the line, Hector should come up and slap you.
Just come up and dig his bell at him.
So I'm just basically quoting the film there.
Right, Hunter, we'll move to you.
Right. So I did enjoy many aspects of this film. Again, I think one thing that did sort of get me about Casey Affleck's character is, so first of all, he starts off as a private investigator who just helps investigate or put pieces together for people who are missing and helps fill in the gaps so people could find these people that are missing. However, 45 minutes into this film, he's now a gun-toting fucking superhero going into that house with the junkies, and is like, where did this arc come from? As far as I'm aware, he wasn't a former police officer. That's not touched on, I believe. But he's some sort of superhero, got these powers from nowhere. This sort of cape of invisibility. I've just got to storm this house with these fucking gun-wielding junkie maniacs and just go in and save the day.
It's a great point.
Good to remember, though, his big brother is Batman.
That is true, but even still. But as again, I did find him a lot more believable when he was still playing like the private investigator / still the guy from who's still hanging about with the folk he knows from, so he can be that go between the people from the projects and the police. I did find that a bit more believable. I thought he did play that character well. Again, it's just as you said, it's a role we sort of cast tight for it, and almost an essentially. Again, what you touched on, Kyle, I thought Amy Ryan was superb on it. Ed Harris was good as well. And similar to what you said, Daniel, I think when the twists started coming at the end, there was just a bit too much going on too soon. So first of all, when you had the first twist, which wasn't the final twist, but being the uncle and the policeman and cahoots, I thought, oh, I just got to take like a Shannon Matthews type twist where it's they've just done it to get the money, and I thought that was it. So I'm sitting next to Laura on the plane, and I paused. I'm like, oh, I've got it. Is this a Shannon Matthews type thing? And she went, no, keep watching. So then you watch it again, and then obviously then you see what happens. Then Morgan Freeman's character comes back in, and obviously he's the one that thinks he's saving the day. Obviously he's trying to replace his daughter that he's lost, but I'm thinking as well, why not just adopt somebody? Like, why have to go through this big fucking layer upon layer of doing this to attain a child illegally, whilst you're meant to be the cop who passed this bill that was protecting children and saving children, but yet you're risking harm to a child in order to gain one for yourself, where you could just go through the proper legal systems. And if you're that desperate, I mean, the children that are in the adoption system, I'd imagine, are from similar scenarios as the one they're trying to save. So you're still going to be rescuing somebody and giving them a better life, but it just did not make it. And again, obviously it's there, it's fiction, it's there, that's what it's there for. But I just do things the right way, man, and you'll still be. In fact, you'll be even more of a hero than he was already perceived to be in the first place for passing that bill.
Yeah, shite film though, isn't it?
Exactly. I know.
There's Morgan Freeman at the adoption agency. Casey Affleck's doing a wee bit of work. That's it. Film's done.
I know. I said the first class wouldn't even go missing in that case. In fact, they could have focused more on the botched drug deal. In fact, that might actually have been a good film. The whole adoption and kidnapping out of it. Let's see the botched drug deal and try to get that $130,000 back.
That would probably be that'd be a better movie. The chase for the drug money.
Fair play. Hunter, do you want to take us straight into some trivia for this?
Right, I will do. So firstly, the film's scheduled UK release was December 2007. However, it was delayed 6 months due to similarities with the Madeleine McCann case. However, I don't remember any scenes with tapas dining and doping the children up with alcohol.
Whoa. do we go down the same way we did with Will Smith and Chris Rock? Do we do like a Madeleine McCann, like who done it?
Who done it? I watched a documentary about it recently, and I think they were negligent and the Wayne got taken, but that's about it. I don't think there's this big conspiracy where they're buried or somewhere and all this fish. Like,
no. What about the one
they
they sold it into a big sex ring?
Nonsense.
Jesus.
I'm in the same boat as Daniel, just to make my feelings about that as well.
Yeah.
I think at the time I was buying into all the conspiracies, but now when you look at it, they are as much to blame for being negligent. And again, they
Well,
only
maybe
get let
find out
off
if they get
because
an extra 5 or 10 million to go towards their case. You never know.
back again they get let off with it because they're working doctors and they've from money and they've got money, so that's how they get
They're
the
treating
slack
two
the cut
working
that they
men and
shouldn't.
2 working women. That's why.
We'll hear about it again in a couple of years when they need their next mortgage paid off.
This has been a weird amount of topics tonight. We're going through fucking. Now we're talking about Shannon Matthews and Madeleine McCann. What the fuck's going on?
Hey, I'll keep going with the trivia.
So it's the only Ben Affleck film in which he directs and doesn't star, and it's also his favourite novel. So touching on what Daniel said, stick to the directing, please, Ben. Chris Evans actually auditioned for the role of Patrick, but again, when your brother's a director, there's only going to Casey Affleck at that point. Jobs for the boys. As you touched on, Kyle, as well, it's Amy Ryan's only Oscar-nominated performance. And as you touched on, Bunzy, as well, the last line of the film with Patrick asks Amanda if that's Mirabelle, and she says, no, it's Annabelle. That was put in again to highlight how sort of incapable Helene was as a mother. And again, that's just another point that adds on to the sort of crux and the point of the film as well, that even after all that, she still can't even remember her child's favourite doll, which she's obviously got well everywhere.
I thought they were going to end it that he was going to end up getting with Casey Affleck was going to get with Amy. What was her name? I thought they were going to end up getting together then. So I'm glad that.
Oh, he's definitely going back and poking him at some point, but maybe
that would have been ridiculous if they ended at that point, though. That would have just been like, what the fuck? No.
Oh dear. Right, let's get some scores on the doors for this. Sean.
I am going to give this a 3.75.
3.75. Daniel?
Well, I thought that I was shocked by how high that was. I thought this was quite good. Generally enjoyable. 2.75 for me.
2.75. Burnsy?
I'm going to give it a 3.25.
3.25. Hunter?
The Dunter Alliance is back and strong this evening. 2.75.
2.75. And it's a solid 3 from myself. Burnsy, what does that do?
3.1.
3.1. Perfect. Just whilst I'm finding out where that sits on the leaderboard, we will be coming to Daniel very shortly to get the reveals for next week's movies. This movie comes in at joint 55 alongside Con Air and The Strangers.
Very good. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, I'm going to push you quickly onto this, getting Daniel's movies here, because I've just had a little beep in my head to tell me that my AirPods are going to die. So before we fuck up the audio completely, let's get Daniel's movies for next week.
I'm going to pick. You thought I was going to pick Two of the Mans, but I've decided against Two of the Mans. I'm going to pick two of my favourite comfort movies. First one is White Men Can't Jump.
Yes.
Movie for Burnsy. And the other one is a movie called Cool Hand Luke. You have to back. What?
I'm saying, really, you're watching that one, or you consider Daniel went as a big surprise in the reveal and then put it in our group chat earlier and had to quickly delete it because it was ready.
I fucked it up. But yeah, Cool Hand Luke. It was one of my favourite movies growing up. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes just to preempt you. So not only is it one of my favourite movies, it's one of the favourite movies. So
I'm looking forward to Sean giving it a 0.75 next week.
I will be honest, right? I'm really terrified about what you'll think about Cool Hand Luke. Like, it genuinely will upset me if you don't like it.
Just when you mentioned about Rotten Tomatoes, Daniel, I meant to mention this when we were talking about Rush Hour 2. Is I spotted that only got a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. I think that's probably the first time we've actually given something a higher score. Did we give it a higher score?
Aye.
I think that's the first time that's probably ever happened on our podcast.
Sean, have you seen Cool Hand Luke?
No.
It's a movie. It was out in 1967. Just to get you ready for it.
Yeah, no, I just checked that.
I just want to say, I promise I've not put us in for any Zulu Dawn piss here. I promise it's good.
Well, guys, I'm just spinning the wheel in the background here to see what the category would be for next. and it's literally just skipped past my name, unfortunately, and moved to pre-2000.
Some more old. Yeah.
So more old movies, pre-2000.
I wouldn't class that as old. You could have anything from the 90s, I suppose.
Well, Daniel gets to pick all these mainly, doesn't he? So,
Like, get a big list together and we can narrow it down.
Perfect, guys. Well, that wraps up the recording for tonight. Rush Hour 2 coming in at 3.95, making that 21st on the list. And Gone Baby Gone coming in, I think it was 55, with a 3.1. We look forward to watching Cool Hand Luke and White Men Can't Jump. I'm buzzing to watch White Men Can't Jump, actually. I've been meaning to watch that for ages now. I absolutely love that movie. And I've taken one note for the potential podcast name of Fuck Will Smith.
Good to be with that.
Well, guys, that does bring us to the end. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you guys for being here, and I bid you morons farewell.
Bye-bye.
Fuck Will Smith.
I hate this part. Somebody say something.